Okay, all right. Uh, we about to go live. So for now, let's do this. Gotta go live as well on Instagram. I think we should go live on Instagram as well on the daily money market live. Here we go. Just for a few minutes. All right. Good afternoon. Let me just fix the camera quickly. What's going on here? Here we go. Okay, check. Everything is good. Yeah, definitely. All right. Few more touch. Give us a brilliant touch. Here we go. All right. Uh, Good afternoon, everyone. You are actually, with Yusuf. I'm the host of the Daily Money Market. As always, each and every end of the month, we actually have, some sort like a live session whereby we go live and be able to actually, go through some of the biggest news that actually happen in a whole month. So today also we're doing the same thing. We are actually, going through some of the biggest news that actually happened for the whole month, a month of the March. Maybe also we can include from the beginning of, maybe from the mid of Feb all the way to the to March. So that's the reason why of this live stream. And again, this live stream is gonna be on a YouTube channel that whereby everyone can be able to actually participate. So basically today it's all about the market recap of the month. We are actually recapping every single thing that has been happening in the market, and we've been seeing that the market is actually really volatile when it comes to when it comes to trading, to those who are actually trading, when it comes to investment as well, to those who are actually definitely investing in a global market. They're actually singing a very good song, because of the market has been very volatile. It's been a lot of things that are actually drive the market to be really volatile. So without wasting time, the biggest news, I think, if I may look, I think the biggest news that this actually month happened, it's about the bank crash. The banks, they're actually crashing, the crash of the Silicon Bank. That's one of the news that is actually currently leading in terms of global markets. And we're going to unpack how the Silicon Bank actually get infected, how they actually, also, get crashed, get banned from the Federal Reserve of United States, and as well as we're gonna go deeper and to see which other method that these guys they're using to to move themselves from the trouble that they find themselves in at a particular time. Another biggest news that comes on a month of March, it was also Meta. The Meta earnings actually grow because of definitely it was because of the ban or the warning to TikTok. So TikTok company, as a Chinese company, is not a United States company, has been given some sort of like a warning from the Feds of Reserve in the United States, to say that you cannot use this product to our people, so that our people can be able to actually buy it or to actually use it. So it looks like a lot of subscribers of TikTok, they were actually starting moving, or they were getting into, into Twitter, into Facebook, and into Instagram. And again, I think it was also WeChat. I think WeChat also was the one that actually, gaining a little bit. So we're gonna go through into that as well to look what exactly drives, this market, especially the market of Meta. And again, we are looking at also, the suites, the Credit Suisse, how the Credit Suisse has been rolled out, the story of the Credit Suisse, whereby the Reserve Bank of the Swiss actually boosted money into Credit Suisse so that they can have a little bit of a strong stability when it comes to actually, in the market. So please be with us, stay tuned. It's quite a little bit of more of, stories or economic global recap that we can be able to actually, get in and know a little bit. That gives us a little bit of sense in terms of the following month, how the market is going to perform, how the following month the market is going to, rise or fall. So that's the main point at particular time. So please stay in touch. We're going to be, jumping in into the first topic in a second. Okay, thank you very much for your keep on holding. Thank you very much for actually, watching this channel, and keep on subscribing on this channel, man. There's a lot of videos that you can be able to actually get, and that eventually you can be able to actually learn some of the things about the global economy. So without wasting time, we're going to jump on the first topic of the day that we wanted to actually talk. Let's look at into Meta. Meta is actually the company, the umbrella that holds, companies like Facebook, companies like, Instagram. And actually, because of, as I said on an intro, that, because of the feds in the United States, they are banning TikTok to be able to be used in the United States. That is why a lot of people, they're coming back to Facebook, they're coming back on Instagram, so that they can start actually, use Instagram, or they can start actually using Facebook. And we saw that Meta actually grow, Meta earnings grow to 3%. The share so almost goes to 20%. The share price of the Meta goes all the way to 20%. But the earnings itself of the Meta, it actually grown for 3%. And you must always know, when companies like Meta, they're the ones that are driving the indices, the tech indices like Nasdaq, S&P 500. You find them, on the US 30. So those are big companies that are actually currently driving, that instrument. We saw yesterday, after the earnings comes out, we saw Nasdaq starting shooting up. Although a lot of people, they were thinking that the index itself as a Nasdaq is going to be, dropping bit by bit. But currently, it's that it showed up yesterday, and by the end of the market yesterday, actually the Nasdaq closed on a higher price. So the company itself provided a forecast for the first quarter, suggested that the revenue could rise from the year earlier, should results come in the top of the range. And again, the stock, again, as we said, it actually extended and rise over to 20%. So let me just move this screen this side so that I can be able, yeah, to see it properly. Here we go. All right. So that's the story regarding, Meta, as I'm seeing, according to some of the sources like Bloomberg sources, that the ones that I'm getting this information to. Also CNB sources again report 1.76 dollars per share. In fact, that means it grows from $1.76 per share. The revenue itself, it gets to 32.17 billion versus the 31.53 billion expected, according to Refine. The company also reported restructuring changes for its family of Apple and segment and Reality Labs unit. It also grew, the Reality Labs unit also grew to 3.76 billion and also 440 million in terms of the overall revenue that actually made again. So respectively, during the fourth quarter of 2022, because of those changes, it is difficult to compare the company's earnings per share of the analysis of 2022. So of course, we saw 2022 Meta company declining in terms of the earnings, but now they are coming on the first quarter of 2023, getting this, the increase 1.6% growth, 3% growth, and again, 20% growth in terms of the share price on the stock market. So it looks like it's doing good. Looks like, these tech companies is actually, doing very, very perfect. And we hope it will continue grows like that so that we shouldn't see the fall of all the indices that, we trade in a global market. All right. So to continue with Meta as well. So we have seen also the community continues grow, and I'm very, very, a lot of people also, they're very, very impressed when it comes to the strong engagement across to across to the apps of the Meta use. So we have seen also the CEO of Meta, Mark Zuckerberg, having a little bit of engagement, to people who use Meta, responding to messages like on a Twitter and so on and so forth. So the community of these tech companies is becoming strong and stronger. People starting becoming trusting this, tech companies so that they can be able to use. Believe you me, both of you and me, we all use, Facebook, we all use Instagram as part of the communication or even advertising of our product. So that's the recap in terms of the Meta. We saw it goes all the way up. We saw even, translating all this growth to Nasdaq. We saw Nasdaq actually, rising up. So that's the beautiful part of global economy, what is going on, at particular time. But definitely that's the first news that we wanted to recap, today. But we're gonna go to the another biggest news that actually we want to recap for this month. This is the biggest news that actually is shaking the market at particular time. And if you look at some of the instruments, some of the correlations of the instrument, for example, like a dollar index to gold, they're supposed to not move along, they're supposed to move separate direction. But now we can see all of them, they're moving on a one direction. It's because of the confusion. And again, it's because of what is happening in a banks. So we have to look in terms of the banks, we have to look what's going on in the global economy, but in terms of the banking sector. I think there's been a lot of the biggest news in the banking sector. And the reason why of the recap as well is because of the recap of all these biggest news that has been happening. All right. So the biggest, news that actually happened this month about the banking sector is the Silicon Bank. So the Silicon Bank is one of the biggest bank in the United States, and this is a local bank whereby you and me can be able to bank and to put their money, save their money, maybe getting credits and so on and so forth. Now, the Federal Reserve of United States, they find out that the Silicon Bank has the issue in terms of their book. Now, here's where you need to understand about this story. When you are having in a bank, there's two books that you need to have. There's a book where the client has to deposit money into that account. Then there's a book that run your business, that run your banks, right? So when the Federal Reserve come to look into the books of the bank, they don't look on a deposit bank, because that's where we keep the money. The money is being kept in a deposit bank, but they look on the bank that actually, the book that actually run the whole bank, their whole business. So the feds find out that this bank, they were running out of, liquidity, so that they can be able to provide the services to, to all the clients that they have. So what the feds do, they actually suspend them. So we saw the share price of the Silicon Bank actually drop to a £1 a share, which has never happened for over 20 or 30 years, maybe even from a beginning of this Silicon Bank. So definitely that's what actually happened, and I want to go through into this a little bit deeper and to see how does it translate to the global market. When you and me, we are actually want to invest, how does this banking crash affecting how we are investing, whether we are investing on the cryptocurrencies, whether we're investing on the indices, but how does this thing actually affecting our investment, maybe also going further to affect our daily basis life. We never know how the feds will turn up with this. So the investors implore the government to step in after the Silicon Bank failure. So the Silicon Bank, as I said, it fell. They sanctioned it by the feds. So now, because of the bank has a different type of investors who invest in that bank, and now the investors, they feel like it's not fair to just leave this bank to fall. So think about a bank like Absa. If the government of South Africa allow a bank like Absa, where people get the pensions through that bank, and to fall, that means there's a problem with actually economy, or the economist of the country. So that is why the biggest investors, they're actually going back to the government to say that, okay, sharp, the Federal Reserve have decided to close this bank. But come on, guys, this bank actually helped a lot of individuals, a lot of people, to save their money, to get credit, to get housing. Think about bonds that are actually being taken from that specific bank. Now everything has crashed. That is the story currently, that the investors, they're crying to the government to get involved, so that they can be able to start pumping up liquidity on a Silicon Bank, and the Silicon Bank can come up. So the main concern is that the failure to protect the deposit over $250,000 could cause a loss of the faith in other mid-size of the bank. Some observers called out the iron of the venture capital community, called the government aid, after many VCS spares their portfolio companies to withdraw money after CVB reversed a surprise statement about the financial situation. So the CVB bank, it's a different bank from United Kingdom. The head office is in London. The actual meaning of the CVB bank, it's actually, the Silicon Bank is from United States, but the HCB bank is from London, where the head office is in London. Now, the HCB bank, it's a Hong Kong shareholder and the United Kingdom shareholder bank. So Hong Kong people, Hong Kong government and the United Kingdom government, they combine, put money together, opening a bank that help local people to run their things in terms of getting credit, in terms of getting bond, getting car finance, and so on and so forth. Now, this HSB bank bought the shares of the Silicon Bank. And remember, this bank is from United Kingdom, but they bought the share price of the Bank of the United States. Now, the reason why the investors, they're crying to the government, because of, if you give a biggest share price or shareholder of your company to a certain company that is from outside that company, every money that you are making is not coming from that company. from that country. It's being removed from the country, going to a different country. So that's the reason why the investors, they're fighting that, the United States government can put money, they can revive the bank so that they shouldn't continuously waste money by, losing the share price, the majority share price, to a bank that is from a different country. So that's what exactly is cooking at that particular time in terms of the Silicon Bank, and again in terms of the HCB Bank, and as well as the Federal Reserve. So the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, FDIC, will cover up $250,000 per deposit, and may be able to begin paying those deposits as earlier as Monday. So as Monday that we are coming, the Federal Reserve already agreed that they can be able to cover. So the FDIC, it's a certain company that hold the insurance of the banks. When the banks corrupt, these are the guys that they have to intervene and throw the money there, or pay maybe the guys that they've been losing money, the investors that been losing money, so that they can recover what they actually been, losing. So that is actually, FDIC currently is doing. They're actually promising that by Monday, they are going to start paying back to those people who lose money on a Silicon Bank, the bank that is just crashed. Now, here's the tricky part. On a Silicon Bank, there's a small banks that actually invested on that bank. So immediately after Silicon Bank was closed, now the other banks also, they're short of liquidity, because the liquidity, they are taking it from the Silicon Bank. Now they don't have liquidity. One of the bank is a cryptocurrency bank, the bank that a lot of people in the United States, they were actually depending on that in terms of installing their cryptocurrencies. So let's say if I don't want to keep my money in the bank, right? The other alternative that I will do, I will actually, take my money, buy coin, buy cryptocurrency, and keep it to that specific bank. That bank also was shut down. That bank was actually scratched in the market. You cannot be able to actually see it, even the share price of it. You can't see anything in terms of that bank. So that's what's cooking in terms of Silicon Bank, and in terms of bank in the global economy, and that's what actually driving a lot of this instrument, as I said earlier on, that you find that the market is going on same direction. uh, dollar indices is going up, gold also is going up, for example. The indices also, they're doing the same thing. So there's a little bit of crash in terms of the global economy. The economy doesn't really know where exactly, people doesn't really know where exactly they should be able to keep their money. Should they put in the banks? Do they still have trust into banks so that the bank can be able to hold the money, or they should move to the cryptocurrencies? All right. That's what actually, the second topic that we had to be able to, to discuss about the banks. Now, we have seen that because of the banks are being affected, what has happened is that people now are moving their money bit by bit to the cryptocurrencies. Now, this is a very, very interesting time that people, they should understand that the global economy is about to get to recession. Everything that United States Federal Reserve is doing is to save, so that we shouldn't go to a recession. We're saying we because of, if a dollar goes in a recession, the whole global economy will goes on a recession. Everything, it will start become expensive. Oil, it will become expensive. Cooking oil that we use on a daily basis, it become expensive. The cars that we take, on a finance, the interest rate will rise up. The bond that we take, the houses that we take, the interest rate, every single thing, it will goes up. So here's what they are doing. They are increasing the interest rate so that we can pay more to save the economy, so that it shouldn't get to the recession. Now, the trick is that the more they are increasing the percentage in terms of the interest rate, the higher the product is become. Now, the consumers, as the PPI, the producer price index, it will decline because of now the producers, they're not going to produce a lot of product because of already the interest rate it's high. To buy things that they can be able to produce, it will cost them a lot. So they can't produce a lot of product. If the PPI is not bringing a bigger results, the producers price index, now the CPI is getting affected. So the consumer price index, again, it will be affected, right? The higher demand, the lower the supply. Now, what we do, the consumers now, that we're gonna now start buying things at a very expensive rate, is because of all this, the whole crisis that is actually, doing it. You know? So let me also look into a little bit of cryptocurrencies. Trust me, if you guys have money at the moment, buy cryptocurrencies. Trust me, buy cryptocurrencies right now. This is actually the crazy time that you can buy cryptocurrencies and keep your cryptocurrencies. There's a different type of cryptocurrencies that people can buy and people can be able to use. It's not only Bitcoin that you can be able to, to buy. There's a Ethereum. You can find Shiba. There's even way much more, cheaper coin that you can be able to put your money. Small amount of money, you throw it in crypto. After the other month, maybe you throw a little bit of $500 or $1,000 on that. Another month, you throw it like that. By the end of this year, trust me, if the cryptocurrencies grow with 1,000 points, that means every rand that you actually put, it has grown by 1,000, multiplied by 17, multiplied by the rate of the rand. So take a note of that. Let's go through and actually see the cryptocurrency. The Bitcoin nearly get to the 25,000 mark, $25,000 mark. And the new FTX management says the firm moved the billions to SBF, according to CNBC News. So here's the most actually, rising star in terms of the cryptocurrencies. The most rising star in terms of the cryptocurrencies, it's a Shiba coin. We can say Shiba coin, it's actually also the cheaper coin, but again, the most growing according to current state or current movement of the cryptocurrencies at the moment. So the Shiba Inu passes the Doji coin. Remember there was a Doji coin before where Doji, a lot of people, they were making noise with the Doji coin. Shiba coin just come after Elon Musk, started invested in the cryptocurrencies, and then the other guys, they said, oh, let's design Shiba coin, and now we see the Shiba coin, the share price actually growing. They actually pass the Doji coin in the top 10 of the cryptocurrencies, right? So Doji was above Shiba. Now Shiba, it goes above, above Dogecoin. So think about if you had whatever amount of money on a Shiba coin, how much money you could have right now, because now it's rating up to top 10 coin. But bear in mind, it's still cheap, it's still affordable for everyone to be able to actually, trade this instrument. Just a second. All right. All right, we're back. So we were at the Shiba coin, getting to the top 10 of the cryptocurrencies, trying to be like, the top dog of cryptocurrencies. Okay. So two main cryptocurrencies, both inspired by the Shiba Inu, its dogs, and are now within the top 10 by the market value. as of Monday afternoon, the Dogecoin, which launches in 2013 as a joke, ranked number 10 with market value over $35 billion. So the market value of Dogecoin on 2013, it was over $35 billion, but it was ranked number 10. Now Shiba Coin has passed the Dogecoin. It's very interesting news. According to the Coin Gauge, it's currently trading at around 27 cents a token called a Shiba Inu, which launched in 2020 to poke a fun of a Dogecoin. It's actually right now ranking number 9 within the market value of 38 billion. A Shiba Inu hit all-time high at a 0.0008616 on Thursday. So this thing had happened yesterday, which is Thursday. And again, we might also see the reason why this thing happened is because of the crash of the banks. Now people, they are trying to look for alternative coin. And the thing is, people that have been testing other coins before. They know the laws, they know the highs of the coin. So they actually want to, buy the lowest coin that is there in the market. But by people buying that lowest price coin in the share price, it actually boosts the share to the top. It moves the share all the way to the top. It moves the ranking all the way to the ranking number, all the way to the ranking number 9. So the strength of the community, the altcoin likes the Shiba Inu, primarily community based, meaning their success is largely depending on the success and the growth of its community instead of its utility. Douglas Donapath satisfied a financial planner and the president of the bond fed with the provisionals through the CNBC magazine. The term altcoin refers to magnitude of the cryptocurrency aside from the Bitcoin. So the word altcoin is actually refers to the magnitude of the cryptocurrencies. So the altcoin is the company that actually you can buy all these type of coins. You can buy Shiba, you can buy all these type of coins. Now, what the president was explaining there, that the altcoin itself as a company was introduced because of to move the other coin to come into the game, into the cryptocurrency game, right? Now, it actually means the movement, the growth of the coin itself. That's when the altcoin will be able to take your coin and list it on their platform, and that's where you can be able to start buying that type of coin. So this is about the Shiba. We saw the Shiba coin getting all the way, up. Again, up to now, the Shiba coin is actually cheaper. I think it's sitting in a rand, it's sitting on a 1 rand something to 2 rand something. You can be able to still buy. Now, the reason why I'm saying you can buy now this Bitcoin, as we see that everything is getting crashed, right? The banks are getting affected. The banks are getting crashed. Federal Reserve, they are trying their best to actually increase the basis points so that we shouldn't get to the recession. The more we are getting closer to the recession, the more people they're going to now stop using the banks. The more people they're going to now removing money from the banks, starting putting money in a cryptocurrencies. The more people move to the crypto, the community of cryptocurrencies start growing. The more community of cryptocurrencies grow, it actually translates to the growth of cryptocurrencies. So as we see $25,000 on a Bitcoin, by the time we get to September this month, Bitcoin, trust me, will be sitting maybe to $45,000 per coin. So if you buy now, you are actually investing your money in a really, really good business, the business that it will actually grow, your money, and you have a little bit of more money in future. Now, the last, I think we only have a few minutes, 12 minutes to finish up the session. The last topic that we had, that I have actually, today, is the topic of the Credit Suisse. I'm not sure if a lot of people know what a Credit Suisse is. So the Credit Suisse, it's one of the, a bank in a suite. And this bank is the biggest bank that actually gives liquidity to a different types of small banks or even to the economy. It's like a reserve of South Africa, Reserve Bank of South Africa. When Recession Khanyago, come up and explain about the basis points, how much money are we throwing in this sector, and so on and so on. Their job is to boost, to put the liquidity in the banks so that the banks can continue function. So the Credit Suisse, banks from spying of the Swiss bailout, it's years of the troubling of the Credit Suisse come to the head. So the Credit Suisse is currently undergoing a massive strategic overhaul in a bid to address the chronic issues. So there's a chronic issue. The chronic issues is about the banks being crashed. That's it. The stock has been a persistent decline since the crisis against the backdrop of investment banking, underperforming, and litany of the scandals and the risks of the management failures. So a lot of management problem there on a Credit Suisse bank, a lot of backdrop of investment bank that were happening. So on Wednesday evening, the Credit Suisse announced that it would exercise its own option to borrow up to 50 billion Swiss francs from the Swiss National Bank. So they decided that, hey guys, the banks are crashing in US. It seems like we don't have money. Even people in France, they're not putting money in a Credit Suisse bank. What we need to do before the creditors or before the feds actually come and close down to us or give us a sanction, what we can do currently is actually borrow money borrow money from the Swiss bank, which is the Reserve Bank of France. So on Wednesday, the share price itself, it closes at 1.697 Swiss franc per share, was down almost 98% from the stock's all-time high in April 2007. So the all-time high of Credit Suisse instrument on a share price market, it was in 2007. And yesterday, it actually dropped all the way below compared to the all-time high that was created on 2007. Again, because of the scandals, there's a scandals that you're going to find on the Credit Suisse bank. The Credit Suisse is currently undergoing as a massive strategic overview, as we said, because of the current CEO and the Credit Suisse veteran. His name is very, very difficult to pronounce it. Ulrich Conant is took over from the Thomas Guest in July as a poor investment bank performance and amounting legitimacy of previously continued to hammer the earnings. So it took the reins in early 2020 following the resignation of the predecessor, Tiani, in the wake of Bizarre. So probably the scandal then is the changing of the head of the bank, the guys who run the bank, the changing of those heads. That's where it become a little bit of a challenge for the Credit Suisse bank share price to actually rise up, and we saw the share price continuing dropping. That is why they decided to borrow money. It's because of changing of the CEO. The other CEO was running the business the way he wanted on his own way. It comes the different CEO run the show in a different way, the way they want it. That is why there's a little bit of crash when it comes to to this actually Credit Suisse bank. So if we have to zoom in a little bit of in a Credit Suisse, the March Madness, they call it the March Madness, said it's a March Madness. The Credit Suisse reported a full year net loss of 7.3 billion Swiss franc from 2022, predicting another substantial loss in 2023 before returning to profitable in 2024. So a big loss there, 7.3 billion Swiss franc in 2022, predicting that this year again they're going to run into the loss. And that is the reason why these guys, they say that no ways, guys, we can't keep on getting on a loss. The earnings are not coming in. We're getting on a loss. Let's just go and borrow money, borrow liquidity to boost our bank. So report of the liquidity concern late in the year led to a huge outflow of assets under management, which hit 110.5 billion Swiss franc in the fourth quarter. After a year, another share price fall on the back of its annual results. In early February, the Credit Suisse share price entered the March 2023 trading at a penalty of 2.85 Swiss franc per share. But things were about to get really worse because of the way the management of the Credit Suisse. So to cut the story short, the bank had actually borrowed money for 8.2 billion dollars, billion pounds or billion dollars, I think somewhere there, to boost liquidity of the bank so that they shouldn't go through like the Silicon Bank of the United States has been happening. So it's crazy. The reason why these guys, they are borrowing money to boost the bank, again, it brings back to the Federal Reserve, right? Because of hiking the interest rate. And now they're going to have to hike also the interest when they give people credit, when people withdraw in banking, people getting loans, people getting bonds, finance, they need to increase the credit of that thing, so that they can be able to make a profit. Now people start running away from that bank, going to the different bank so that they can get maybe a better service, and they saw themselves the share price dropping bit by bit. Now the last topic that I wanted to touch. It's about the European Central Bank, the ECB, because the ECB, they're the ones actually drives the Credit Suisse to be in this situation because of increasing of the credit and increasing of the interest rate. So the ECB takes a divorce 10 following today's 50% basis points. So they already hiked the 50% basis points was yesterday. Again, the CNBC Steve Jones have actually reported the exchange to discuss the central bank's decisions to hike by the 50 basis points, the divorce tone from the ECB, and the difference between the US and the European inflation. The dollar, we saw the dollar fall and the European roses on Thursday, which is yesterday, after the European Central Bank has raised the interest rate planet despite the market chose in the recent days. So since yesterday, when the European Central Bank hiked the interest rate to 50 basis points, we saw the dollar actually declining, and we saw the indices goes all the way up. We saw the euro dropping in a sign that the Federal Reserve also will raise the rate the next week as a both stay on the track to the time inflation. So the central bank, they're actually expecting that the Federal Reserve of US next week, they're going to increase the interest rate. If they're going to increase again the interest rate to 50 basis points or 45 or 75 basis points, we should expect again South Africa to increase their basis points to that amount, whether 75 or 60, and so on and so forth. So this is a very big topic to for a lot of people who are investing or people who are doing finance marketing, to be to keep an eye on it, to see how actually this thing is gonna unfold. The ECB on Thursday confirmed expectation of 50% basis point interest rate increases, taking its key rate to 3%. The central bank had signed it for several weeks that it will be rising the rate against its March, again at its March. Meeting an inflation across the 20-member region remains sharply above the target level. In Feb, parliamentary data shows the headline inflations of 8.5% were above the central bank target of 2.0%. So the target of central bank on Feb was 2%, but the inflation grows all the way to 8.5%. I think on the Feb they hike it with a 75% basis points. That's how they hike it on a Feb. So again, we saw the currency dollar gain. Its gains in a safe haven by as a Credit Suisse specs widely banking fears. So the dollar index, which measures the United States dollar currency against its own roses to 1.1%, and the euros fell to 1.4%. Dollars to 1.058. The dollars roses at 0.850 against the Swiss franc, while the sterling traded down at 0.75%. The Japanese yen also, we saw it grown strength to 0.75% basis points at 132.225 per a dollar. So it was 132 Japanese yen per dollar. It grows with the 75% basis points. The Feds also fund the future, which reflect the overnight rate that banks uses the lend to each other plummeted. So on December, the contract tumbled to 3.62%. In a sign market expected the Fed to be cutting the interest rate, but the year's end and not for before. So definitely the story here is just the Federal Reserve has been, increasing the interest rate bit by bit, coming from, NFP, non-farm payrolls, going to, CPI, all the way to PPI, producer price index. They've been actually, getting a positive, results. That is why we saw, the dollar declining. But the reason why we saw the dollar declining is not because of all these entities they've been getting the positive results. It's because of the banks itself. They are actually on a crash. The banks, they are crazy right now on a crash, and people, they are panicking at particular moment. No one knows where they should keep their money safe at particular time. So that's it. That's what we actually, prepared for you. Okay, that's what we're actually preparing for you. Maybe we see you again next month, where we can do again the recap of the month. We're gonna have to look on NFP, PPI, CPI. We'll look again into Credit Suisse banks, how this thing is unfold. We're gonna look again into banks, cryptocurrencies, everything, so that we can be able, to come with the overview recap of the month. But the biggest thing that I've noticed this month is that the banks, they are actually crashing, and the cryptocurrencies, they are on a low right now, but they're getting on a high. Bit by bit, they're getting the momentum to pick up. On top of that, we are getting closer to closer, for the recession that has been talking all the way since last year. So yeah, with me, Yusuf. I'm the host of the Daily Money Market. Don't forget, subscribe the Daily Money Market on YouTube. The more you subscribe, the more people we are, the more conversation we can have. I wish you to have a very, very wonderful day, and a wonderful evening, and a wonderful weekend. We salute.